MD TV here. This is your Motivational Dude TV with your MDs, WBs, and that's Motivational Dude Wisdom Briefs. And these are essentially short, succinct snippets of information to help optimize your mind and body and realize your potential. And today we're going to be talking about how to enhance the quality of your gut, how to get some gut gains. More specifically, looking at becoming your own GP, eliminating toxic triggers, and nutrigenomics, freeing yourself from your palace of pain. So let's get to it. Becoming your own GP. Imagine for a moment that you needed and required a gardener. That your garden lot, your plant beds and your plants were suboptimal and you had to call a gardener. Now, I am that gardener. I'm the gardener who comes to see you. In actual fact, I used to have a gardening business, RA Gardening Aid, believe it or not, but that's besides the point. So I come to your home and you tell me what needs done, you show me the jobs that need doing, and I get to work. But rather than looking at the roots of the plants and looking at the conditions of the soil, the amount and the number of weeds that surround that plant and the water content, rather I take out my paintbrush and start painting the sick and brown leaves green. And you come home and you expect to see this wonderful gardening, but instead you see me painting brown leaves green, and you're not very happy with this service. Well, that's sort of like our current state, our current experience in life in this very present moment, because our health service and our GPs and such, they operate in a similar manner. What they are doing is they are treating the symptoms versus the root cause. If I think back to times when I was younger, when I experienced manifestations, lots of eczema, I remember that my mother took me to the doctor and the doctor gave me loads of lotions and potions. I had to bathe in these oils. I was given steroid creams such as Bentonivate. Not once was I asked about my diet. Not once was I asked about how my mother approached the foods that I would eat. That's basically what's going on just now in our health system. We need to become our own GPs in essence. The system that's there is broken, and GPs now and doctors are limited because of the bureaucracy, because of legislation, and in fact their skill level has stagnated. So we have to take personal responsibility for our own health and start to look at our guts, which I truly believe is the root cause of all disease, much like Hippocrates says. If we can look at our gut and we can start to master that sphere, then we can start to move towards a place of abundance and truthful health. Secondly, eliminate the toxic triggers. There are a number of universal and specific toxic triggers, and today we're going to cover 5 of the most common universal toxic triggers. Those would be wheat, that's wheat gluten, dairy, alcohol, caffeine and sugar. And if you yourself are experiencing suboptimal health, or one of your family members is, then it would be worthwhile for the next 21 days to completely eliminate these 5 universal toxic triggers: gluten, dairy, alcohol, sugar, and 5th one being gluten, dairy, alcohol, sugar, and caffeine. Almost forgot. If you can eliminate those for the next 21 days, and then what you have to do is you have to check in with yourself, assess yourself, approach it like a project with an experimenter's ethos. Look to cause and effect, look for connections and say, okay, if I consume this, this happens. you remove it for 21 days, and then you systematically replace and re-embed those specific toxic triggers in your diet, and you look for manifestations, negative, detrimental manifestations in your diet, and then you can see subjectively and objectively that those don't fit for you. Those aren't going to work for you. With gluten, if you look to the word gluten, the root of the word, if you look at the Latin, that means glue. And these large organisations, what they're doing is they're taking gluten and they're using it to bind other toxic food-like imitation foods into one large whole food-like product. And they're selling it to us, and we're consuming it, ingesting this just collaboration and combination of toxins, and it's just killing and suppressing our systems. And also gluten, much like these other universal toxic triggers, it inhibits the process of consuming gluten, inhibits our digestive processes. It prevents digestive enzymes from breaking our foods down into its individual component parts. So when you consume a banana, for example, that banana has to be chewed, put into the gut, where your digestive enzymes go to work, breaking it down into its component parts. Those are amino acids, phytochemicals, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and then transferring that and sending those things round the body in the circulatory system to the relevant areas. Now, if that digestive system is prohibited and prevented from doing so because your digestive enzymes aren't working efficiently because of the gluten, then these large undigested food particles, they remain in the gut. They aren't broken down, and in fact, they diminish the power and the robustness of the gut wall. In fact, they inflame it, they target it, they tear into it. And when you damage your gut wall, a number of negative, detrimental consequences will fall therein, will come forth. Now, if you look to sugar, if you can consume sugar in abundance, then you're going to change the microflora, that is the many organisms that live in your gut, the bacteria. There are 10 times more bacteria in the human body than there are human cells. So by consuming large quantities of sugar, you upset the natural order of microflora of these good and bad bacterias, and things like candidas and yeast build-ups happen, which can manifest as thrush, as headaches, as acne and skin rashes, or even as depression, and it causes systemic inflammation in the body, and inflammation is the root cause of all disease. And things like caffeine, for example, caffeine can be, yes, very stimulating for the physiological aspects of the system, the heart, the lungs, etc., but it can also be it can also influence our body's pH. It's a very acidic chemical compound. And when your body becomes more acidic, you become more sick. So these are some of the universal, most potent toxic triggers. And if you, like I said, are experiencing suboptimal health, or someone in your family, then take these foods for the next 21 days and remove them from your diet, and journal how you feel and make those connections. And lastly, nutrigenomics, freeing yourself from your past of pain. We are born into this world with a specific set of genes. Each of us, you and I, have around about 35,000 unique and specific genes. But here's the problem. The old way of thinking doesn't work. Most of us used to think that we're born into this world, we have these genes, and we are stuck with these genes. We may have predispositions, genetic predispositions to certain ailments, disorders and diseases, and we must live at the mercy of our genes. Now, that is not the case, and new science, particularly epigenetics, shows otherwise. If you look to epigenetics, I talk a lot about this, if you look at the word epi, means above. So you can actually hover and raise above your genes. You don't have to drown within them and be at the mercy of them. You can hover above, manipulate and orchestrate them in a beneficial way for your life and your existence. And nutrigenomics essentially looks at the study of nutrition and how nutrition influences your genetic expression. Do we switch on the good genes, or are we switching off the bad genes? Those sorts of things. So you need not live in this palace of pain. If you are living right now with obesity, with diabetes, with cancer, with heart disease, then you can actually take a step out from that palace of pain and gain more empowerment by eating a more healthful, plant-based, whole food, real food diet. The foundation of a really good nutritional program is real foods, whole foods, minus your toxic triggers. So for you, it might be that you don't deal well with dairy, but for me, it might be that, and this is true, I can't consume dairy, I can't consume a lot of caffeine or sugar. Those sorts of things have a negative detrimental effect on my genetic expression. They switch on the bad genes, the systemic inflammations, the pro-inflammatory cytokines that really damage and suppress my system. And they keep me in that palace of pain longer than I need to be. I don't need to be at the mercy of that anymore. So, understand your universal toxic triggers, become your own GP, understand your own universal toxic triggers, start to understand the process of nutrigenomics and how you need not be in that palace of pain any longer, how you can step out of that, and by implementing and understanding these 3 tips and tactics, you can move towards a place of potential. So I suggest that you go out there and you start making some gut gains, because it is the cornerstone of health, happiness and abundance. Move towards your potential. Hopefully you've liked this video. Please let me know in the comments below which point really resonated with you, and I'll see you soon for the next edition of MD TV. Peace out, much love.